Welcome to the Lorehounds, your guides to beacon tampering. I'm John, and I've immobilized your motor functions for the length of this podcast.
And I'm Elysia, and I promise not to try to kiss anybody as we break down the 5th episode of Apple TV Plus's Murderbot, Rogue War Tractor Infinite.
Spoilers for the first 5 episodes of the series, but we've not watched ahead. We've done some of the reading, but no spoilers for anything that hasn't happened in the show. Elysia, your hot takes?
So I was waiting for this one because I saw in the image that it had Anna Konkle in it, the actress, the new character who joined, Leebeebee. And so I was just curious, like, how does this character come into it? And I guess we can say for non-book readers, this whole situation where they find someone alive at Deltfall and bring her back, that's added for the show. So we can speculate a bit about that, although, we obviously do know how the book ends. I was really waiting to see her show up and be like, I'm like, who is this? What is this person doing here? So it's interesting. Definitely want to talk about that whole situation. I had fun with it again, as usual. Like I'm enjoying the season, and I was thinking about the fact that it's only 23 minutes again, and that's sitcom length. So it makes me wonder, does Apple plan to syndicate this someday? Where it's going to appear somewhere on network television with ad breaks? Yeah,
I guess it's not that brutal, right? Like for a show called Murderbot, there's really not a lot of gore.
Right.
I think it's a good possibility.
And I was also thinking about the whole, again, we get a cliffhanger of sorts, and I think every episode is just going to do that. And I think it's because it's hearkening back to the whole Flash Gordon, space pulp cliffhangers at the end of every release.
Yeah. That's interesting. Again, I would have classified this as a cliffhanger that I wouldn't like normally, but in this show, I think it's just part of the gambit, and I will go with it. Not everything needs the same thing.
Yeah. So, what did you think of this?
I thought it was the best episode yet. I thought they really did. I thought they really did a great job. That scene is so iconic in the book too, in the novella. The scene where they're like, okay, so he's been rogue the whole time. With Garothan being like, hey, this is not great, guys. This is not great.
Yeah. They really did almost word for word in that scene.
Yeah, they did, and I really loved it, and I loved the joke. They took that right out of the book where they're debating whether he's really watching the show or not, and they give a controversial take, and he goes, "That's bullshit."
Yeah. What is it? I have it written down here. The one where the colony solicitor killed the terraforming supervisor who is a secondary donor for her implanted baby, and the book version is, she didn't kill him. That's a fucking lie. But in the book version, there was no F word and more details.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a deep cut. Anyway.
Yeah, that was great. And Garothan's like, so what? It's like, no, that actually does matter. The fact that he's just like a chill dude.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, and they did change some of what's going on with Murderbot and why I am so bad with names today. Who's the lead? Mensa, thank you. I don't know why
she's really smart.
Yeah, she was great in the hopper with Murderbot. That was a different scene too.
Yeah. I love how they keep building out like the world of this. This world or the galaxy or whatever that they're in terms of all the entertainment. So the title refers to Rogue War Tracker Infinite: Tribulation, which Leebeebee says is a great show, and Murderbot and Rothy's face suggest otherwise.
Leebeebee is so funny. Like I don't know whether to trust her, honestly.
I do not trust her.
I'm very suspicious. She's disappearing for stretches of time, and we know that there was a group pretending to be other people at the other place. At Deltfall, and I'm just wondering who, if that group were able to pretend to be Preservation Ox, sorry.
Yeah.
If that group were able to pretend to be Preservation Ox, I could see Deltfall being the new impersonation.
Yeah, exactly. And at some points, toward the end of the episode, Murderbot even says to Mensa, if someone came to you, you would let them in, because Mensa's like, why would they let them in? He's like, if someone came to you pretending to be, you guys, they were pretending to be Preservation Ox to Deltfall. Well, if somebody did the opposite, pretend to be Deltfall to Preservation Ox, you would let them in too. And it's like, yeah, did you not just literally do that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He goes, hey, dummy. It's fun stuff. It's a good episode. You want to get right into the plot?
Sure. Okay, so back at the base, picking up where the last episode left off, the Preservation Ox team decides to save their sec unit, who shot itself through the chest rather than let a combat module override force it to attack the team it's supposed to be protecting. As they're hauling its heavy ass back to the hopper, a woman pops out of the bushes wearing a Deltfall uniform and covered in blood. She says she is a survivor of the sec unit attack, and Mensa and the team invite her to return to their habitat across the ocean with them while they try to reach out to the company to tell them what's going on. The woman, who introduces herself as Leebeebee, is both afraid of Murderbot, unsurprising, but is also uncomfortably sexually interested in our asexual protagonist.
Honestly, that awkwardness was the thing that was making me trust her most, because I was like, if you're trying to be not noticed, this is not the way to do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do wonder, just because, like, the show seems to be making us not like her, in terms of she thinks the thing that the show everyone else thinks is bad, she thinks it's good. She's trying to kiss an entity that is repeatedly professed to us, the audience, that it is not a sex bot and is not interested in that kind of behavior. Yeah. So then I'm like, is that a misdirect? Like, you're setting her up to be disliked. So maybe I'm less trusting of her than I should be.
Yeah, maybe. Honestly, it's almost expected now that she's going to betray. I wonder if you're right and it's a misdirect and they're going to do like a reverse twist on us.
Yeah.
Like, oh, she was fine the whole time.
Yeah, maybe. Oh man, but it did. They are setting up, this. I definitely recognize being that, like, when you're like, please stop behaving that way, and then she's like, well, stop staring at me, stuck up robot. And that's, yeah, definitely when someone's crossing a line and you tell them no, they're going to call you stuck up or something.
Right.
Although when she tried to, she kissed its chin.
Oh my God. And then melt me down. And I love the way that the integrity rate or whatever like the health bar is for Murderbot, like, just starts going down, and you're like, oh wait, that can happen with just emotional harm.
Yeah, it makes sense. But she said that was just for luck or whatever. That was totally a Star Wars reference, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a Star Wars reference. You're right.
Yeah, so I had here, I guess we've already answered this, but on a scale of 1 to Littlefinger, of Littlefinger to Jon Snow, how much do we trust Leebeebee?
Littlefinger to Jon Snow? Let's go Great John Karstark.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I feel like even if she is not part of this mysterious third group, I still don't like her. I mean, I love the actress, I have to say. I love her from other things also. But yeah, the character, I'm like, no, bad news bunny.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's fair. That's fair. She's causing problems. That's for sure.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, do we believe her whole... She says she's an indenture, and we still don't know how people get put on an indenture. Is this like a way of getting off? Because she said she's from Industrial Junction 151523. Arata's like, oh, that sounds nice.
Yeah, it's an unpaid internship to get out of the lower levels of Coruscant.
Yeah, that's basically what I'm wondering. But I don't know. Do we believe that she's that? Because then also... I mean, it's jumping ahead a little bit, but later on, she's awfully interested in Garothan's data he's analyzing.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. That makes me suspicious, but also, like, she did back off when he told her to.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, and again, like, would you make yourself that obvious if you were trying to go undercover?
That's a good point. So, what did you think of your boy Rati this episode?
He was fun. I mean, oh my god, what a foot and mouth moment with if we have a child. I did think the naming a child sec unit was hilarious.
Yeah, no, that was funny, but Pinley could not be any less on board with that.
Yeah, Pinley's like, I'm not having a child based on this.
I'm not with you. I'm definitely not naming it sec unit.
Yeah. And just his whole like trying to be buddy with Murderbot is hilarious. Second.
Yeah, that's right. I'm friends with the sec unit. Your corporation rim, so you probably wouldn't like get it. I love also that he has this mark on his head from where he got the kickback from the gun last episode.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Good attention to detail. Yeah, he's got this like red circle on his head where the gun plunked him. All right, shall we tackle Garathan's interrogation?
Yes, let's. He was certainly getting tackled.
That's a great scene from the book too. So back at the base, the team repairs Murderbot as well as they can with Bharadwaj managing to extract the tendrils of the combat override module, which by the way was totally giving me the Last of Us tendrils, the yearning tendrils.
Yeah. And that was new for the show. I really like the visualization of that because in the show he just wakes up and they're like, yeah, we deleted it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. No, this was cool. And also I love how they're building. Bharadwaj is my second fave after Mensa of the Preservation Ox group. But anyway, so she takes the tendrils from Murderbot's port so that it can think for itself. But when they turn it back on, Garathan sets it to be immobilized as he's learned that Murderbot hacked its governor module and does not have to follow their orders, which Mensa points out means Murderbot was protecting them when it didn't have to. Garathan is convinced that the thousands of hours of entertainment it's downloaded must be hiding something more sinister. But Rati and Pinley test it with a Sanctuary Moon deep cut and determine its fandom is real. Tired of Garathan's games, Murderbot reveals it doesn't have to listen to commands to remain immobilized either and pins Garathan against the wall. So, yeah. I love it. He says a little bit more in the book. Sorry, I've got to stop doing that. In the book before it puts Garathan down, it says, I don't like you, but I like the rest of them. And for some reason, I don't understand. They like you. And then I put him down.
Which I think is more calming for everybody.
Yeah, I think they're trying to leave it more on edge.
Yeah. That's fine. Give us a little more drama.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish in both the book and the show, it would have been fun to see the dynamic between Doubtfall and Preservation Ox before this all happens. Like if they met early on, although I guess then we would not be suspicious about Leebeebee. We would know whether or not she was part of their team.
Right. I kind of want to call her Leebeebee. I think that's funnier.
I'll say it the way she says it, but I just feel like also when they asked her name or several things, like I don't know whether I was looking for it or maybe I sensed like she paused a beat before answering.
Yeah, like, that's true. I mean, it could be trauma. Like I'm hesitant to talk to you, but it also could be sabotage. Yeah. I just, I just have to say, even like her saying her name when she first introduced herself, I burst out laughing when she said my name is Leebeebee.
Well, also, Arada responded. What did she say? She was like, "That's beautiful."
Yeah, that was great.
It's a beautiful name. Oh, and she's like, she's also dropping very passive aggressive insults, like, "Oh yeah, my supervisor called you guys the amateurs." Like, is she really that blundering, or is this on purpose to rile them up?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a tricky situation. I could not tell you if they are legit or not.
Yeah. Yeah, and Murderbot points out if the corporation wanted them dead, there are a lot of easier ways to do it, but they wouldn't want that because this is something they go into more in the book. I don't think it's a spoiler to say, but it's basically there's like insurance on all these people, and especially now that we know that Mensa is a leader of her planet, there's extra insurance on her. So they're like, we have to pay that, if...
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Yeah, we just want to collect the premiums, not pay out. That's right. How insurance works, yeah.
Right. That's the whole point.
But I like that they point out the lack of the governor module. Murderbot still helped them, but also the lack of the governor module allowed Murderbot to help them. Allowed a sec unit with a governor module that was working wouldn't have comforted Arata like we saw in the first episode.
Right.
Wouldn't have, and certainly didn't shoot itself like we saw last episode. So it actually, by trusting Murderbot, they allow Murderbot to help them more.
Yeah, and they benefit from the lack of a governor module. I think Garothan hasn't seen that yet, but I think Mensa is starting to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What do you think about the whole Rati Pinley Arata situation? Do you get any physical chemistry between them? Or is it just
I don't know.
Rati likes all the same stuff Pinley does, like games and shows and stuff, but
yeah, I don't know. Maybe they need a contract to date or something in this universe. I don't know. Maybe they're in the early stages, and Roddy just put a foot in his mouth by being like, "Hey, let's have a kid."
Yeah.
He's like a guy on the second date being like, "Oh yeah, let me put a baby in you."
Exactly, with a coworker though, so it's an extra weirdness.
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's not great.
Yeah,
that's not great.
And so yeah, but we have all these dynamics being set up. I'm interested to see how they play out. Mensa asks Sec Unit to promise to also protect Garothan, and I think it will do it just because Mensa asks, not because it has to.
Right. Because I think Murderbot really respects Mensa, even though Murderbot does not have to, obey Mensa. Murderbot wants to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And I think we get that also in the next section where Murderbot is just thinking to itself oh wow, look, this is a conversation like I've seen on TV, not just commands and requests for information.
Yeah, that was really great. That was a nice little touch.
No. And then Murderbot tells them it hacked hub system and controls what is or isn't recorded. So yeah, that's basically I think I like in the book. I guess they have more opportunity to show that how Murderbot is controlling all these things at the same time while conversing with them and all that stuff. So, when Garothan's like, well, we would notice if it had been watching that much content. It's you have no idea.
Yeah, exactly. We would notice. No.
Yeah. But anyway, we should distrust hub system as we see in the last section anyway.
Right, exactly. And also Murderbot says the corporation doesn't want you dead. They just poison the food.
Right.
Yeah, you depend on them for everything. You don't even realize how much you depend on them.
Yeah. They wouldn't have to go to all these lengths.
Which is scary, right? Man, mm-hmm. I wouldn't want to be at the whim of that. But I mean, at the same time, we're all at the whims of a lot of different systems right now.
Yeah. Well, it is interesting that it's financial interests that's keeping them alive. They're anti-capitalist. They are, a communal structure, but at the same time, it is the financial interests where standing between them and corrupt humans, just letting them die.
Yikes!
Although apparently, maybe someone took a bribe. So
yeah, exactly. It's capitalism giveth and taketh, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, mostly taketh.
Mostly taketh, but there's markets everywhere anyway, so you just have to live with part of it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, this isn't a show about capitalism. This is a show about Murderbot, and we need a break.
A little bit of show about capitalism.
I guess you're right. And we need to take a break before we continue it. We're back for an emergency beacon intervention. What's going on, Elysia?
Murderbot suggests it's time to trigger the emergency beacon, sending an SOS to the corporation that will call someone to pick them up after about 5 days of travel time. However, it seems the beacon has also been tampered with and they can't launch it using hub system. Murderbot says it will take the hopper to the beacon and set it off manually, and Mensa joins. She tells the team to prep to move to a more hidden location once they return. Garothan will analyze all the data while they're gone to find more clues to what's going on. But as they approach the beacon, Murderbot detects a threat. It yells at Mensa to turn the hopper around now, and she banks to the right just as the beacon explodes. The end. Did it look like they were falling? I guess so, because they were caught, and they didn't blow up, but they were caught in the...
Yeah, they're going down. I think this is how they're going to get them to meet whoever's doing it, because this is clearly a trap, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. I think they're about to be hostage.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I want to see, I would love to see some travel, but I don't know. Yeah, maybe toward the end of the season. Some travel through this worm. Yeah, through the wormhole. Yeah, and how that all works. I think I just love to see how that's represented on screen. But yeah, so another thing that made me suspicious about Leebeebee, and I'm using air quotes in my voice, that she doesn't know if Deltfall attempted to launch its beacon. And this is where she says the whole thing about the 7-year indenture to Intertrav Mining Solutions. And I don't know. I feel like her response here was one of the things that made me most suspicious. Like the way she was like, I don't know. How would I know? I just do laundry.
Yeah, and people were they were rightly like, hey, you have a cleaning person come with you. Uh-huh. At the same time, that could be one of two things. That could be these guys are not ritzy and they wouldn't even think to bring a laundry person over. Mm-hmm. But or it could be that it was a made up position and nobody would bring somebody.
Right. Yeah, and also the way she she does present herself as a bit dim-witted. But the way she misinterprets what, they're like, oh, that's disgusting. They mean disgusting as in having indentured servants. But she's like, I can't help it if I don't have a degree. And they're all like, no, even though we're all scientists over here, the amateurs.
I do love it is. All right. You know what? Like we're both fairly of the same like sensitivities to the world and of our political or social alignments. Mm-hmm. But there is a time in everyone's life where they are so trying to dance around getting the terminology and getting like exactly every data point right in their speech that the minute they mess up, they like feel the need to do exactly that. Yeah. and I love seeing that in action. That's so hilarious to me. It's like, no, not like that.
But then it makes me think, like, is Leebeebee, air quotes, just messing with them, like knowing that that's going to send them spiraling and end the questions?
Yeah, maybe. I think it could be, get them off their balance. Like make her seem so incompetent and so annoying that she's never a suspect. Could be.
Yeah. And we learned 2 facts about Mensa. First, her name's Ida, so I guess they all have first names that we are not privy to at this point. It's interesting that Garothan calls her that. And we learned that she's the best pilot, so maybe they wouldn't have survived with someone else.
Yeah, true. Maybe Garothan's one of her baby daddies.
I mean, I think Garothan would like to be one of her baby daddies, but I think she's got several other spouses.
You don't think he's on the list?
Not by the way they're behaving, but it seems like he wants to be.
Yeah, I mean, they could be ex-partners.
I mean, I think they're friends, but he wants more. That's the vibe. That's what I've been getting from what we've seen and heard.
What do you think about him going, if I don't make it back, Pinley's first?
Yeah. Well, that's the question. His response, like, she's like, they're, clasping hands, in the sort of, he's like, please don't say that about not making it back. And then she says a thing like, Pinley's first among equals. And he's like, oh, okay. So, yeah, did he think she was going to say something else to him? Romantic? And then it's,
I love you.
Yeah. And then it's like, by the way, you're not in charge.
Yeah, I don't know what he thought she was going to say. I do think it could have been romantic, but you're not in charge is definitely like insulting for him, but also I understand why she would do it because he clearly has too much bias. He clearly is like not like being a leader also requires social skills. And he does not have them.
Yeah, I would have put Bharadwaj in charge, but if not Pinley, yes, sure, fine.
Yeah, I don't know if Pinley was the best choice either. Pinley's pretty awkward.
Well, Pinley's been like also much more so than in the books compared to the books. I think they've fleshed out Pinley's personality more in the show, which is a good thing. But Pinley is the second most suspicious, I would say, after Garathan.
That's true. That's true because Pinley was also helping him with his calculations, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Although Pinley, of course, it does know Sanctuary Moon. I'm like, it's like, I'm trying to think. It's like Garathan saying, like, I don't know, he's watching some show called Star Trek. And it's like, you don't know what Star Trek is? Are you kidding me?
Right.
But then, we get that lovely, awkward moment where she says, I'm glad you were here. And I love Mensa is my queen of empathy. I love her. And he says, me too. I think that, and just then, I feel like Murderbot did this on purpose. It's time to leave. He's like, oh, come on. So I wonder what he was going to say. What do you think? I think that we should sign a contract. Oh,
I'm sorry. I thought you were finishing a sentence and your mic cut out. I'm leaving this in. I was like, what's going on here? I don't know what he was going to say. But I did love Murderbot going, it's time to leave. Like the way he said it was such good delivery.
It was like he wanted to interrupt. I think just to thwart Garathan.
I think he just hates Garathan.
Yeah. Which is fair. I mean, fair. Yeah. To a certain extent.
Like what has Garathan done to be nice to him at all?
No, it's true. It's true. Garathan has just been the only one who's not like, who's always suspicious at every term. And the only one not to, I don't know, be glad that it's not a slave to a governor module.
Right.
Yeah, and Garathan's clearly not a fan of Leebeebee either, though, so that wins some points with me. But like I said, she was seeming awfully interested in looking over his shoulder at the data.
Yeah, she definitely was. I was suspicious there, but she did back off, so I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, they're messing with people who have read the book also in any case. So I'm curious if book readers have thoughts. If you post in the Discord about it, please use spoiler tags. But I'm curious how she ties into what we know, where we think this season's going to end. Yeah. Did you feel called out as a parent when Murderbot said, for some reason, humans liked talking about their offspring, even if you didn't ask?
I legitimately think about that all the time. Like I don't bring up my kids. I really don't bring up my kids except the fact that like I have kids, unless somebody asks about them. And then sure, yeah, I'll show you their pictures. I'll tell you all about them. But I understand that like you're not going to care about them as much as I do. It's okay. It's all right. I can care about them enough for everybody.
But this is also the point where Murderbot's, reveling in being involved in a conversation versus a command. So I don't think it minds it. And it's even, I mean, we know Murderbot has some interest in human drama because why else would you watch all these shows?
Right.
So I think it's just, when it's like this is a warmth and a familial thing. And then, I think it likes that, but then versus what Leebeebee's doing with the gross sexual aggression.
Yeah. Oh boy, Leebeebee.
Oh boy.
You're not going to get what you want there. Oh, and the whole monologue about whether the pee-pee, yeah. That was insane. But again, like, is that trying to throw them off and like see her as a weirdo instead of a threat?
Maybe.
I kind of think it might be.
I was cringing so hard during that, and I was wondering, because you like cringe humor, I was wondering if that was good cringe for you or bad.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious. I thought that was good.
Yeah, it's very cringy.
It was
like hiding behind my fingers. Yeah.
I don't hide. I relish it.
You lap it up. You're like, give me
bask
a spoon.
in the cringe. We got David watching the rehearsals, so that's a cringe achievement.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he skipped to season 2, which I can never do that. But I was saying season 1 actually is ultimately, sorry, mild spoiler for season 1 of the rehearsal. It becomes about parenting.
Yeah, I do prefer season 2 though, because I think it knows what it is from the beginning, and season 1 did not.
Well, season 1 is a journey. I liked that about season 1, that it's just like you're like, what's gonna happen now? Oh my god, now what?
I don't know. Season 2 went places that I didn't think HBO was going to let him go.
Sure. That too.
I will quote from it. HBO gave me a blank check as long as I don't go over budget.
I mean, I guess he's earned that.
Yep.
Yeah.
He sure has.
So, Murderbot fans, check out the rehearsal on HBO if you haven't yet. You might like it.
Yeah, if you like the cringe of Murderbot, boy, let's level it up for the rehearsal.
Yeah. And there's some feel-good characters too, but no Mensas.
No Mensas.
Although, actually, there was quite the monologue about Einstein.
Oh, I forgot about that. I mean,
great. She's not wrong about, in general, the intelligent people, although I've heard bad things about Einstein as like a person with a romantic individual, so no.
I think I think that was the one time in this whole series that Nathan broke character. He smiled and he had to like double down. Like, wait, what?
Yes, please do talk more.
Yeah. All right. Well, this isn't the one shot we might do on the rehearsal, so
yeah,
I think it's time to wrap it up. Basically,
yeah, it was a fun episode. It was. I mean, there are people who are saying they're going to wait until the end of the season to binge it all, which I understand, but also I'm really glad we're watching it basically on a weekly schedule too with everyone else. And I'm really glad to have it dribbled out like this. It's been really fun. And then I'm going to rewatch it in a binge at the end of the season.
Yeah, I think that'll be a lot of fun. I think it'll work as like, I guess it'll basically just be like a 3-hour movie, right?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. That's fun. That's fun at the end.
And we're only halfway through. So 5 more weeks to go.
We're only halfway through. All right. Well, if you want to join us on this journey, send feedback to lorehounds@thelorehounds.com. Get on the Discord. Linktree in the show notes has the link for that. And there's a forum with episode chats for each episode, so you don't have to get spoiled ahead if you're behind the show. I guess you're not behind the show if you're listening now.
Hopefully.
But yeah, hopefully. And what else we got going on?
We're doing our wrap up with the 3, you, David, and I, for Andor. We're recording that later today, so it'll be out soon too. And we've got Supercast and Patreon stuff going on, ad-free access to our podcasts and bonus content there with, the extras for Andor and Wheel of Time and everything else. And we've got Second Breakfast and 11Z's extras. This month, we're going to do 2. This time, we're really going to catch up with 2. So we have the Gene Hackman one's going to be The French Connection. And then it's your month to pick.
Yeah, I gotta pick a whole thing with that. Yeah. I have several lists prepared, but I have to decide which one.
And there's also going to be some Marvel stuff coming. There's going to be Jean and I are doing an episode looking back on this Sony Spider-Villain verse with our power rankings and just an analysis of that whole thing. And we also have coming up, we're doing for subscribers a prep episode for the new 28 Years Later movie. We're going to start with on the subscriber feed looking back at the prior 2 movies before the new one comes out.
Very cool.
What about our affiliates?
Nice. Affiliates, we got Nevermind the Music. They're doing their weekly music and psychology breakdown. We've got Radioactive Ramblings covering the Fallout lore. Rings and Rituals is still on pause, but Properly Howard is back. They are doing, what are they calling it? The Kevin Bacon one?
Yeah, it wasn't Degrees of Bacon, was it? But it basically is.
Yeah, they are having a great time, and I can tell it's going to be a fun bacon rap. That's what it's called.
Okay, yeah.
Which is funny. Everyone talks about Kevin Bacon. Nobody talks about his cousins, Kevin Lettuce and Kevin Tomato. All right, that was a bad one. I'll move on.
I was trying to think of a punny response, and I just fell short. So you win.
Well, yeah, and then your podcast too.
Yeah. We'll shift dust. Getting back into Dune in the Star Wars Canon Timeline podcast I just released for subscribers and episodes about how Andor has changed Rogue One, and then there's going to be more High Republic stuff back on the main feed.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good.
You want to thank people?
Yes, I'll thank the people. I'll thank all the peoples of the world. We are the world. All right, no, I'm not going.
We are the Lorehounds.
Yeah. All right. Discord server boosters: Aaron K, Tiller the Thriller, Dork of the Ninjas, Do 71, Athena A, Tina Listu, Nancy M, Ghost of Partition, Radioactive Richard, and our lore masters: Martian, Michael G, Michelle E, Brian P, SC, Peter OH, Adam S, Nancy M, Duve 71. Brian 8063, Frederick H, Sarah L, Gareth C, Matthew M, Sarah M, Andra B, Kwang Yu, Deadeye Jedi Bob, Nathan T, Alex V, Sub-Zero, Aaron K, Deli V, Mothership 61, Gnarls, Kathy W, Lasu, Jeffrey B, Elysia U, Neil F, Ben B, Scott F, Stephen N, Julia F, Kali S, Ilmariel /Tim, Paul K, and Adrian. Thanks everyone for all your support. It helps us tremendously, and we will see you next week for more Murderbot.
Bye. Pew, pew.
The Lorehounds podcast is produced and published by The Lorehounds. You can send questions and feedback and voicemails at thelorehounds.com/contact. Get early and ad-free access to all Lorehounds podcasts at patreon.com/thelorehounds. Any opinions stated are ours personally and do not reflect the opinion of or belong to any employers or other entities. Thanks for listening.